What's going on, everyone? This is Philip with Thrifty PS Gamer Reviews for another episode of Thoughts with Thrifty. If you read the title before you got here, you know we're going to be covering Ghostwire Tokyo, Horizon Burning Shores. The DLC drops tomorrow. I know there's probably more than a couple people who are really excited about that. And we're also going to be discussing, if I could read the title, we're going to be discussing the Game Pass effect along with another topic and then just, random game conversation. With that being said, I have a very, very special guest tonight, very, very good friend of the channel. This is Toolman55, and he was actually my 100th, how the hell do you say that? 100th, whatever, subscriber. He got me to number 100. And then through a snafu, he then also got me to 125. So he helped me hit 2 milestones. With that being said, I'll let him kind of introduce himself. And Toolman, what are you playing right now? Good, good. So, hey, with that, that'll kind of take us into our first topic. Oh, and I've been playing Forspoken, but I don't really want to talk much about it because I, I want to do a review on it once I've played more than just a few hours. But, oh my God, that game is the most giant cluster F of a game I've ever seen. It's so gorgeous and so shitty all at the same time, and I don't get it. Oh, anyways. Uh, Okay, so first of all, okay, dang you, tool man. Okay, so first of all, the game is very, very hit or miss. Like it feels like several different studios worked on it and just didn't communicate with each other. Like it you'll go from one world setting that looks flat and dull and boring to another one that just looks out of this world and looks great. And then you'll be dealing with character models that look stunning for the main characters. But when they talk, their faces, all except for Frey, their faces do like weird talking animations. And I'm like, I, hmm, okay. And then the combat is absolutely otherworld. The combat is so freaking fun. And the movement is fun once you get the hang of it. It's very, very, very fast paced. But like there's even times where Frey looks awesome. And when she's talking, it looks next gen as all get out. And then there's other times when like the camera's behind her and like it's those in-game cinematics that aren't really cinematics but like you kind of follow the character. Like in those type of scenes, I just I just got to the lady who like she's like a healer or something. Name starts with an A, I think. Anyways, she her character model in the walking cinematic where she's talking and you have to follow her a little bit looks so there's a term used in gaming a long time ago called Eurojank. Like it's a game that is really good, like has good qualities, but is just janky. Like it doesn't match. It's like the scene from Friday when they're like, we have no two things in this house that match. We got ham, no burger, peanut butter, no jelly. Like it just drives me nuts. It so like there's times where I'm like, ooh, that was a frame drop. That was bad. Dude, it's fine. It is so it's so fluid. It's the The frame pacing, honestly, is when you're trying to when there's a lot of structures on the screen. Like when you're going through a city, it's the frame pacing is a little weird. Um, but I don't know. Have you played it yet? No, and I waited until it got down to I found it for 30 bucks. And I was like, "You know what? That's a good enough price." It was pre-owned, and I was like, $30 is what I want to pay for this game right now. Like, I didn't want to pay 70. I didn't think it was worth 70. Um, and I had Hogwarts Legacy coming out, and I make it a rule to only purchase 3 new games a year at full price. Yep, it is a hard and fast for me. Because if not, I'm going to purchase every single new title that I want to play, and then I'm taking money from other things, and that's like I have to be an adult. Like being an adult sucks. But go ahead. No, go ahead. Just everything. Hey, pause real quick. My dogs are about to bark. What is your while they're about to do that? What's your favorite game on the PS5? Hey, Toolman. Hey, real quick, your mic's not coming through. When church was on. So what you have to do is you got to go down here to where it shows video is paused, mic only broadcast. Okay, cool. What you have to do is come out here onto the game base, I believe, and then go over to the party and select your character. And you should be able to have something like settings in there or something like that, like view profile or oh no no no, it's the 3 dots. Yep. That's fine. This is twice now that I have proven I am not a professional. Oh, sorry,
Yeah,
whoever is.
I should have thought of that. I should have thought of that. It would have been in the voice chat. My
That's
bad.
fine, dude. No big deal. So
They missed all that. What the heck?
they missed everything, and we had some good talks in there about like, well, they got my voice.
Yeah.
They're like, dude, who is this guy talking to? He said he was talking to somebody. No, nobody's in here yet. It's fine. But um, dude, I tell you, doing this show, I've really started to consider making it once a week because there's tons of views that I get on these after the show. Like, I don't get a
Hmm.
ton during the live, but I get quite a bit afterwards. And so, anyways, we are live, and I have to remember that. So, I was telling you earlier to remember that, and I'm the one sitting over here yapping about stuff that don't matter. So, anyways, so tonight I have the first topic is Horizon Burning Shores releases tomorrow, the 19th. Now, for me,
Hmm.
it's a hold off. I have like my two options are day one or wait. And the reason why I'm a hold off is because I have burnt myself on Horizon. And I try not
Hmm.
to. I tried and I didn't want to. And there was another game that I think that was coming out. I think I was trying to start like this channel, so I was playing a lot of other stuff too. But 35 hours in, uh, and I just burnt myself. It just happened. And so
Oh yeah.
uh, I've done that with other games too, and I kicked myself in the rear end. I almost did it to myself in Hogwarts. Uh, I
Oh,
had
I can see
like,
that.
I was like, dude, I didn't even complete like the first like, I don't know, like the main section.
Hmm.
And I was over leveled. I was overpowered. I quite literally kept thinking to myself, and I even posted some stuff about it. Like, I'm 30 hours in, and I'm just now level like 22 or 23, and I'm like, how is this even possible? Like, I've been busting my tail at this game, and it took me quite a while. I ended up not burnt out on it, but I ended up. Sorry for any noise in the background. My wife just got home. She's trying to fix herself some dinner.
Oh, you're good.
I just got. Um, I kind of streamlined. I went from quest to quest to quest to quest just so I could beat them real fast because I didn't want to do anything else. I didn't want to spend any more time in the world, but I really, really wanted to beat the game. Like
Mm.
the way they set up their two villains made me literally want to beat the snot out of them by the end of the game. So like I pushed myself to beat that game, and it's a wonderful game. But like
Mm.
with Horizon, I just burnt myself out. So I'm gonna wait. I'll probably do what I did with the first one and wait till it comes out as a complete edition or whatever, or they fully integrate it and remake it fully for the PS5 where that's all it is, or
Hmm.
just something like that. So what about you? Day one or hold off?
No, I already pre-ordered it. I mean, $20. I've been wanting to finish up, all the other stuff on the map. Like I told you earlier, I've beat the game. I've got right now it's showing I've got 159 hours in the game. Um, I've did all the side quests. I think all the errands. I'm working on the jobs, uh, all the rebel camps, all the collectible stuff. Finishing up some of those. So there's still a lot of stuff all over the map that I'm gonna do, but I'm excited to play this. I watched the trailer that they launched for it, the latest one, where it shows the new character that's in there with Aloy, and then diving into the water. So with the Sunwing, so that looked pretty cool. And then I was looking at the trophies here earlier. There's like 18 new trophies that they're adding to it. So no, I'm excited to play it. So I'll probably be playing that tomorrow for a little bit.
Am I correct in what I heard? I think I heard this today, where it's its own like standalone, right? Like it's an expansion or it's a DLC or whatever, but it's like its
Hmm.
own standalone 5 to 6 hour thing, kind of like what Square Enix did with Intergrade.
Hmm. I'm not sure how many hours. That's kind of what people are guesstimating. You know, anywhere from like 5 to 7, 5 to 8 hours. All I've heard is that Aloy gets a distress call on her focus. So I don't know if it's wherever you're at on the map whenever you load into it tomorrow or tonight, whenever after midnight. Um, if it, I'm sure it doesn't matter where you're at, but there's a distress call is all I know, and I think it's more, towards the shore over there, ain't it? I think you're going out further, or I don't know if you're going north and south of the shore over there, where um,
Well, no,
where
it's in
you.
Hollywood, so you're going to be going west. Like you're going to keep going
Hmm.
towards the shore.
I know the shore is San Francisco, so that would be that'd be north then. That'd be north of it on the shore. Up, I know some of the buildings are similar to the ones that are over there by the shore and stuff that they showed in there. So yeah, that I think it'll be cool. You know, the Gorilla, they do a good job with all their games, their stories, and all that narrative and everything. They do a really good job with all that. Um, the I remember all the way back to Killzones playing them. Some people like Killzone, some people didn't. I enjoyed playing the Killzones. So,
Was Killzone
but
Gorilla?
uh-huh, yeah,
No.
yeah.
I freaking loved Shadowfall.
That's one of the things they talk about with developers of being able to switch from one genre to another, and they were doing the first person shooters with Killzone, and then they switched to an open world RPG. And not a lot of studios, not a lot of talented studios like that can do something like that and switch from one to the other. You know, so but yeah, Guerrilla Games, they made both. So,
Wow,
but
that's
yeah,
crazy.
I am excited to play it. Give me a
Wait, that's
reason
right.
to
Did
get this
because
thing
Gorilla did
finished.
Red Faction too, didn't they?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's right. That's right. I
Yeah,
don't know
that
why, but
was.
as you kept talking, I was like, wait, Red Faction and Red Faction 2 were both Gorilla.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was before Killzone too, so, or
Huh.
during Killzone.
Yeah, I
But
loved because I played Red Faction on the PS2, I believe. Yeah, PS2.
mm-hmm.
But that was
Yeah.
a really, really fun game.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if I ever played any of the Red factions. I've seen them there and stuff. I don't think I ever have.
I liked them a
But
lot. So you've already got it pre-ordered. That's like me with Final Fantasy 16. That dude has been paid off
mm-hmm.
and pre-ordered, and it's going to be in my living room. And I
That's one
have,
of the three. That's one of the three.
yep. And my other one is Spider-Man 2.
Like I told you before, I mean, this is the first time we've, talking and stuff, but the text and stuff. I've never played a Final Fantasy game before. I actually played one for maybe half an hour. I can't remember which one it was. I think it was like 10, whatever one of those are. It was like Final Fantasy 10, 2, whatever, the one that's like a slash and it's something else. Whatever they're called. I played that one and then I was like, okay, I don't know what the heck's going on, so I just dropped it. But yeah, after watching that state of play with that, I was very impressed with that. I was like, what the heck? I was like, oh yeah. So pre-ordered. I'm ready to
By
play that one too.
Byron just said it was reported 3 weeks ago that Sony is the best Metacritic publisher of 2022. Yeah. Um, upside, that's awesome. Downside, I absolutely hate Metacritic. Like, just because it can be manipulated so easily. But like, it is cool that that's like the thing. Like, they've Oh, jeez, I just fell off a mountain, or fell off of a building. They've done like so well, just developing games, developing studios. Like I didn't know until I got really deep into all this stuff. I didn't know for fact that Insomniac wasn't actually a PlayStation exclusive studio when they did Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
They were not exclusively owned by PlayStation.
Mm-mm. No.
It wasn't until after.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I believe it was after the game came out. They bought him like right after that.
yep,
In 2018. Yeah.
that is
It's
absolutely
like
correct.
they was like, "Yep, we want them."
Which was crazy because Insomniac had already done so much stuff for them.
Hmm. But I think it was one of those things where didn't they fund helping them to make Spider-Man, even though they weren't owned by them?
Yeah, and I think it might have been the
And then
same
it
with
was.
Ratchet and Clank and all that. Like I think
Hmm.
those were like I think Sony funded games, but I'm not 100% on that.
Hmm. Because they have a history of that, funding a studio to make, like From Software, they funded that to make Bloodborne and all that stuff.
Well, I mean,
You
look
know,
at what
they.
they did with Housemarque. Like
Hmm.
Housemarque, they completely funded uh,
Hmm.
Returnal.
Returnal.
And then they
Hmm.
were like, "Yep, this game is awesome. We're gonna go ahead and bring you in." I
I think it
think
was
that
about. I think it was about the same amount of time for purchasing Housemarque after Returnal launched. Was probably about the same time Spider-Man had launched that they said that they bought them too.
yeah, I mean, here's the deal. I am so surprised that Sony did not scoop up Ember Labs. I
Hmm.
really thought they would because Kena Bridge of Spirits was a phenomenal game. It
Hmm.
was I did a review on it and the way I described the combat was it was super easy until it wasn't. And like you
Hmm.
would mow down all of these like just normal aggro, right? Just normal blah, just normal enemies. You would mow them down with ease and then you fight this freaking tree boss that was a pain in your rear end that would kill you so
Right.
many times and it was hard, but it was easy enough to get to those fights that it kept me engaged. And the story, it was a cute story. It was a good little story. Like
Hmm.
so I mean, it really was a great game.
Oh yeah.
But speaking of great
Yeah.
games, um, let's get into Ghostwire Tokyo. So the way I have this thing set up tonight, I really wanted to do a couple stories about PlayStation and a couple stories about Xbox, right? That's and the fact is that PlayStation keeps getting W after W after W, while
Hmm.
um, what happened in chat? Hang on, I'm surprised that they have not scooped up the developer. Right? Annapurna needs to be a PlayStation studio. Imagine the funding that they could have to produce quality indie titles 6, 7, 10 hours long.
Hmm.
Dude, that that right there would be amazing. That
Oh
I
yeah.
Because Stray is just the type of niche game that your indie folks will buy. Like there are indie people who keep certain series alive because they're always going to purchase them, right? Like there's
Hmm.
certain series that I have never even touched as an RPG fan even.
Right.
And they're done by these little studios. And like Sony's just needs to scoop up somebody like that because those titles you can sell them for 20, $30 and everybody gets what
Hmm.
they want. Everybody gets to have good games, good quality, you get good variety, and that studio then benefits from uh, what I call the kind of like the PlayStation effect, right? They benefit
Hmm.
from the seamlessness of all their studios talking back and forth and working back and forth together and sharing ideas and like there's so much benefit to be had if they would just purchase that studio. Anyways, that's my
Mm-hmm.
rant on that. Uh,
Oh yeah.
let's let's get into Ghostwire Tokyo. So I damn. I was watching something today, and it mentioned something about Ghostwire Tokyo, and I was like, "That why are we talking about a game that's a year old? What's going on?" And because I don't pay attention to a lot of like it's Xbox games coming to Xbox are not on my radar. I don't really follow that. I see it through
Mm-hmm.
Twitter, but as much as I'm concerned, I just want to focus on what PlayStation's giving me, right? Because I'm
Mm-hmm.
well fed over here.
Oh
So,
yeah.
not only am I well fed, but I'm well fed with food that's good and that
Mm-hmm.
actually tastes good. It's the difference between getting, like a T-bone from IHOP versus getting a T-bone from like Texas Roadhouse. There's a difference. Yes, they're both T-bones, but there's a huge difference in quality and
Mm-hmm.
consistency. But so it came out and somebody referenced a um, the video of Digital Foundry. And so I was like, well, cool. I have a few
Mm-hmm.
minutes. I'm going to go ahead and listen to this on the way home because I had a 20-minute drive until I got home. And I
Right.
listened to it and I was like, wait, did he just say 900p? No, he didn't. Not another game coming out at 900p. Why? Like this game's been out. It's had the ability to be optimized now. They had a year to optimize it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, funny enough, the head of the freaking studio left um,
Uh-huh.
just like a month and a half ago. So that's interesting. Maybe he left because he realized that, oh, I don't want to work here anymore because this console might be powerful, but it's not streamlined and it's not seamless. So, no, I'm leaving. That's speculation. And, as Church
Yeah.
says, he doesn't like to speculate. But I find it super interesting that it's all these games that are coming to Xbox. You can look at Redfall and go, hey, it's a new IP. They're not known for their just amazing quality as a studio. 30 FPS, 60 patch later. Mm, okay. Game Pass game.
Mm-hmm.
They were a double A studio. Now we're calling them triple A because of how much funding is behind them. Oh, okay. They're not part of XID or whatever X
Mm-hmm.
whatever the heck the Xbox indie BS crap is.
Yeah.
They're not
ID Xbox.
ID
ID at
Xbox.
Xbox.
There we go. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
something like that. And they're not in that group anymore. So you have this studio that had an extra year with the most powerful hardware, and literally nothing is being held back from them. They have all the tools. They're a first party studio now. They've had the tools for
Mm-hmm.
a year. This game should have come out at 1440p, 60 frames per second, or I'm sorry, 1440p 30, or 1080p 60. Like, and it should have been a lock,
Mm-hmm.
right? The Series S should have been able to lock it. The problem with that 900p, okay? If that 900p is locked, fine, okay? Great.
Mm-hmm.
But it jumps to down below 50 frequently. Like, it's not just one or two. It's not just like, hey, in this one weird spot in the game it'll drop to like 45. No, it's while you're moving and turning, it's dropping. And so it's
Mm-hmm.
so strange to me. It's so interesting that these studio heads are leaving. The games are coming out unfinished. Nelson Gaming, perfect example. Unreal Engine 4 should be easy as hell. Dude, when I heard that it was an Unreal Engine 4 game, I my jaw kind of hit my steering wheel. Like I don't understand how you screw up an Unreal Engine 4 game when every other third-party developer can take that and make a game 60 frames per second. I don't get it. You're telling me you have 12 teraflops of power and you can't do this. I understand it's not
Mm-hmm.
all about power. I get that. It's not. It's about streaming. It's about streamlining. I mean, that's the one I remember when the. I'm gonna date myself, but I remember when the Pentium Quad processor came out,
Hmm.
and everybody was flipping out about it because they took the dual core, and instead of adding just two channels, like the dual core had, they added two more.
Hmm.
And it was like, and they showed this image of stuff being funneled into the processor, and now it has four lanes to go through, so it went so much faster. And like, so streamlining is a big deal. I don't know what the deal is with Xbox with the Series X, but even let me back out of here real quick, and I'm going to look at my screenshots that I took because yes, I took receipts because everybody cares about those now. Um, so sucky thing is I can't load them on here because once again, if you've been following me or watching my streams or listening to me when I was on Doomsayer's podcast or listening to me on the Saltiest Gaming Pod, I do not own a PC capable of doing anything but playing Diablo 1. That's it. It cannot
Hmm.
do anything else. So y'all won't be able to see this, but there is a the pixel count, okay, on Series S, or I'm sorry, Series X quality mode, 1512p. Now, the PS5 edges it out at 1620. You're telling me that you lose the battle not only on frame pacing, frame rate, stability, but your 12 teraflops of power can't get you more pixels, can't get you a better resolution, a better display, sharper. Like, how in the freaking crap does that work? Especially with a game that came out and released over a year, or about a year ago, actually 1 year ago. I don't get it. And so, Toolman, what are your thoughts on this? Like, is this something that is just in like the devs don't know how to use it, or is it Xbox management? Is it the
I
tools
think
not being as good?
that's.
What do you think?
I I don't think it's the tools. I think they've talked a lot about. I think Xbox has the tools. I don't know if they're more advanced or whatever, where developers can't. I'm not sure, but I think it does come down to the management. I think it's been that for a long time, and the diehard Xbox guys will say no. No, it's not management. You think you could run it better than Phil or Booty? No, I don't think anybody could do it, but there's clearly somebody higher up is telling them, just push it out, just push it out. It's just crazy that it's just it's just one thing after another with them. It's like they can't catch a break for anything, and I don't think it's the developers over there. It's not the developers per se themselves. It's the people above the developers that's making the decisions on this. So we're only going to do this much. We're only going to put out this much effort or whatever. This is about how much work we're going to do. And like you say, we heard it from Halo. We'll fix it after it comes out. I mean, we've heard that so many times. We'll fix it after it comes out. We'll
You're
fix it after it comes out.
after it comes out. Yeah, yeah.
We'll patch it. We'll upgrade it. I mean, I've heard this many times on podcasts that people say, back before we were really even on, people were on YouTube looking up how to beat a game. You had to figure it out yourself. These games came out. When they came out, that's how they came out. They had everything with them. Everything was there. Everything came in the disc. Everything came in the box. Whatever. You were set. You didn't wait for other stuff to show up.
And if
That
that
wasn't
game
until.
sucked and had bugs out the rear end, the game got trashed and nobody bought it. Like that was, if you
Mm,
released a good game, everybody bought it. If you released a game that
mm,
had decent entertainment quality, everyone bought it. But man, if you released a buggy game, guess what? On the PS1, you have now a buggy game. You're welcome. That's
mm.
it.
But I didn't watch the Digital Foundry yet, but I have seen clips of it. And it's just funny. I mean, I think it's starting to become comedy to them in a way at times. The guys there at Digital Foundry, having to. They were even saying it there. They're like, I don't know what's going on over there. Why are they having such a hard time putting this out? And even like Nelson said here in the chat, that like, for, a first-person shooter, why are you having this hard of a time? 30 frames. And the thing that they put out here several months back, that was from Arcane, that they did a look at it. It was like a 9-minute video or whatever. That would look actually pretty good. I mean, you still didn't see a lot of gameplay, but they had cinematic, they had stuff through the world. It was looking better than it had before. It was actually looking pretty decent. Then this here, you hear people say, oh, it's IGN sabotaging them and all this stuff and everything else. And I really don't know what's going on over there at Xbox. I don't know what they are thinking over there, why this keeps happening. I mean, the only logical thing is it's the management is the reason why it's doing it. I don't think it's a developer thing. I mean, because you can put out a Forza 5 Horizon. That was pretty much a polished, high-quality game. What was it, 90, 92, 93 Metacritic? If people care about that. I mean, that game's fun, It plays flawlessly. I've played it. Halo Infinite, I told you earlier, it took me a long time to go through, and I finally beat that. I made myself beat it. Oh, God. People say the mechanics on that game is good, and they are really, really good, the actual mechanics of the game. But the visuals in that game, I mean, early 360 days were doing better than that. I would say even the OG Xbox was doing better in some of the visuals than that. I was flying around on some, whatever it was, whatever the thing is that you can get up and fly around in. And I was seeing trees popping in and out on the hillsides. It was popping in and out. I mean, shadows weren't there. I mean, I was just like, this game, and you hear the big meme of the pipe cleaner trees and stuff. I mean, it was like flat 2D trees. And then you come over here to Horizon. When I first started playing Forbidden West, when you come down the elevator and you meet that guy down there that's, thinks he's all high and mighty, and once you get done with that little part right there and you start walking down the hillside there, and you just stop. I just stopped and looked at the trees, and you could hear the sound, and it looked like it was real life. It was just blowing, leaves were blowing, you could hear the sounds, the trees were swaying, the grass was swaying. And then I think back to Infinite, and I'm like, what the hell are they doing over there? Sorry.
No, you're fine.
I really don't get what they are doing. I mean, people say, talk about Ghostwire Tokyo. They just put out Hi-Fi Rush. I never did play it. It seemed to be a really good game. That's what most people that played it, I guess, said, that they really enjoyed it. They really liked it. It had more of that cartoony art style and everything. And people that played Ghostwire on PlayStation, I think, it was kind of 50-50. Some people liked it, some people didn't. But I think overall they said it was a pretty good game. And but like you were saying earlier, Thrifty, Digital Foundry, they said that there's been no improvements. It's been a year. There's been no improvements. They reported there's no improvements on the PlayStation 5 from where it was. It's still got the same results.
Right.
You've got the Series X that has 1.7 terabytes more. It's like 10.3 to 12. And the way they said it, they go, it's doing worse than the PS5. And they sort of chuckled. And they go, well, it's doing quite a bit worse than the PS5. I think that's how they worded it. Don't hold me to that. But it was something like that. And then they went to the Series S. And the guy they went to, I was listening to it at work, so I didn't really get to see it, but he was laughing about it when they started to go to the Series S and chuckling about, and you said the numbers for that, but, it's just, I don't know, they just come off the Redfall thing, and it's like two things in 1 week, and it's just like, boom, boom, punch, punch. I mean, it ain't the first time that they've had to deal with this stuff in a week, but I don't know. You almost feel sorry for the people that love Xbox and that have been there since day one. And
Dude, it's so bad.
And you've seen some of these people that have left. Okay, we know some of these people. Thrifty, we know Jez left in 2016. We know Salty left in 2019. Yeah. We know I've never talked to Mooch or Crab except just in a chat, texting, but I've never talked to him. But they left in 2016, 17, I think it was 15, 16, 17. I think it was 16 or 17 as well. There's a variety of other people that have sort of filtered over and moved over. It's just, they got tired of hearing, we've heard this in chats for the longest time. They got tired of hearing, just wait a little bit longer, just wait a little bit longer. But I've listened to a lot of Xbox podcasts, and there's some of them, they don't listen to that. They're like, no, Xbox is great. They're doing great. Game Pass is great. Everything they're doing is great. PlayStation's dead, and I'm just like, what are you talking about?
Guys, I mean, Frost Kieran tried to say PlayStation was dead, and well, that coupled with several other really bad takes on her end, like, like just stop, like, just stop. Our console may not, excuse me, our console may not be the best at the end of the life cycle, because I do think that there is something to be said about the power of the Xbox Series X. Now, what they could do and what they need to do is one of two things. One, drop the X and just ride that S like a freaking cowboy at a rodeo. Just get on it and say, listen, this is what we do now. This is what we are. That's okay. Actually, there's three options. The third is they become their own publisher, and like that's all they do. They get out of the console market altogether. They go back to Microsoft focusing on PC, back the way it was before the Xbox. And then they focus on PC and cloud gaming. Perfect. Done. The other option is they have to drop the S. They have to. Like, I think the S is holding this generation back for them. And that's not, a few months ago that was speculation. I could say that, even though devs aren't saying it, like, that's just the speculation. Well, now it's happened on two other games, and even most of your third-party games that come out look better on a PS5. Or let me rephrase that, they run better on a PS5.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, what in the, like, make a decision, because y'all are trying to spread yourself way too thin, and it's not working. It's not, I am lost also on this game, and it's driving me nuts. It is not working at all. So, you can't see this. Well, yeah, you are. You're in the chat. I am streaming Valkyrie Elysium, and I kid you not, the game told me that I was done, and I had to go back, and I can't get back out of here. I'm about to just reload to the title screen. But this is, it's a problem. What did Nelson just say? That ain't gonna happen. Like 2/3 of the Xbox and the Wild are S's. Dude, I know. Like, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
You think of the marketing it's like they're afraid to show off the games because, it comes down to confidence, doesn't it? It comes down to confidence. It's always confidence. It doesn't matter if you're making a video game or if you're, doing anything else, if you're not confident in what you're doing, if you don't believe in what you're doing, and I think the developers over there, I think they're confident, and I think they believe in it. I think it is the management role. It's the higher ups. It's the one that looking at the money. It's the ones looking at, all of them that are just looking at it going, well, I don't see us really getting much profit off of that. Let's just go ahead and push it out. If we have to wait another year to get this game right and get it finished and all this stuff, so let's just get it out and you guys can just fix it along the way.
But why? Like, what is the purpose behind that? How is that smart at all? Like, who does that benefit? Like, I can't look at this and go, okay, so when you look at, PlayStation games going to PC, I'm not necessarily a huge fan of that. I don't really like that. I think the studios don't need to be worried about that. And they bought Nixxes to make those ports, and then Nixxes can't do everything, so they had to outsource again, and it turned out to be shit, and it turned out to be crap, sorry. I'm trying my best to keep this stream PG, guys. I really am. This stuff just gets me a little fired. But, like, I can look at that and go, okay, that benefits the bottom line. That lets them double dip, essentially, on their game sales. Cool. I get it. Any extra money you can make off of that is good. No problem. And it gets your brand out there more, possibly can help you sell more PS5, because people want to play it on the actual console it was designed for. No problem. Like, I can at least semi-justify that in my head. I don't know who the heck this benefits. Xbox looks like a clown right now. They have nothing going for them. They have promises that keep getting broken. They have pretty decent indie games from what I hear. Like, there's a couple people I listen to that talk about, just very generalized. They talk about all games when they come out, like, and they don't necessarily have any kind of brand loyalty or anything like that. And even those guys were like, yeah, Hi-Fi Rush, it was fun for like 6 to 10 hours, and then I got bored with it. Like, but it did its job. It's an indie game, gave you 6 to 10 hours of gameplay and fun. Cool, awesome. Probably a game I would have paid $15-20 for. Great. But, like, to say that I don't have anybody in this right now that is, I can't look and go, well, it's because Phil Spencer wants to be able to make money or capitalize on this. It's because they're doing it for their fans to get games out. It's almost like it's almost like Phil Spencer buys into the social media and is feeling pressure to make these studios release these games because, oh dear goodness, could you imagine the bloodbath if Xbox didn't have a AAA game released this year? And I would also argue that they haven't yet, but like,
well, they didn't have one. They didn't have one last year at all.
I know.
First party.
So, like, but here, if you talk to Xbox fans right now, they'll take the bashing on the narrative that they don't have games. Because right now what they're getting is worse. They're getting incomplete games. And, like, that's not okay. I don't know. It's like when you buy a pizza and you say, hey, I want, my favorite pizza. I want pepperoni, pineapple, and jalapeno. Okay? And you get it, and you see that, well, there's no pineapple. But wait, this is what I ordered. Where is it? Well, we'll bring you a cup of pineapples. We'll have the delivery guy bring it back to your house. It's not the same.
Yeah.
It's not the same in the least. It's not giving me what I've paid for. And I think that Phil Spencer, as much as he's involved in the community, he listens to those morons who are like, no man, just release it, we'll support it, just give us those games, bring on the games. Like, no. Stop listening to social media idiots and delay it again. Just freaking delay it. Who cares? Delay Starfield. Which is probably going to happen.
Oh,
anyways.
that would, who are they, if they delayed that again, that would be,
Mhm. Hmm.
That would be something. But it is about Game Pass. Game Pass is the driving engine, and I was listening to. I missed the first part of Jez's last night, so I went
Hang on,
back and I was
hang on.
listening.
Let me get this real quick. Nelson just said, been waiting 10 years. What's a few more months? No kidding. All right, continue. I just wanted to read that. That was, go ahead.
But
So you listen to
yeah,
Jez's show?
so I was listening to the replay of it. I caught like the last 45 minutes of it or whatever. So I was listening to it, and he was, how Jez gets going and he gets going on with his soundboard and everything else. But
The flute.
yeah, the quality flute.
The quality flute. I love that dang thing. Go ahead. So he's going
Uh,
on with his board. Go ahead.
mm, but I can't even remember what we were just saying. Dang it, I lost my train of thought.
We were talking about Game Pass being the benefactor of uh, of these type of scenarios, of these type of releases. Like, and you were bringing up that Jez on his show was saying something about, I'm guessing that,
hmm Yeah, I mean,
and
he
like how
brings
Game
up a
Pass
lot
is the
of
driving force.
he brings that up, about that is, I mean, that's all they care about. He was talking about, the PS5. That's why you're seeing that, like Sony will never put out a first party game, and pretty much most third party games that they have they're not going to, more or less what he said, and I agree with, that they're not going to allow it. They're not going to allow something bad to come out on their system because it tarnishes your name, don't it? It makes you look bad. Nobody wants to look bad. I mean, that's how you stay on top is you've you've got that image, you've got that quality, that's the keyword, quality. You've got that, um, but with Game Pass, they push that so hard. I mean, you go back to the Keeleys and Phil sitting there mad. You could tell he was mad in
Oh,
that
he was so
chair.
pissed.
And all they did showed at that show. And I heard people, Xbox guys, say, why did they need to show anything? Are you kidding me? But they didn't show anything there except for 2 Game Pass ads. And people justified it. Well, they really don't need to show it. Oh my gosh, they're at a Game Awards show. They're about reveals. They're about, producing hype. They're about making people excited, ready for what's next. Okay, what they got next was 12 months of, here's 12 months of nothing. That's what they got. And how many of those games got pushed out of the 12-month window, which they got flack over? It was like the start of just a snowball rolling down the hill for them once they did that 12-month. Um, Now, what the reason was behind that, I mean, you don't know. I mean, sure they had a reason for it, whatever it may have been, but going back to what Jez was saying, he said, PlayStation is not going to put out a first-party game that is not top quality with pretty much every bug and glitch and everything pretty much go over it with a fine-tooth comb. You may get a game every great once in a while that has a few more issues that need to be cleared up, but usually they get it cleared up, within a couple weeks, maybe a month at most.
Yeah, I mean,
But but
I remember the
but
day
with
one or the patch that they did for Horizon, I think took them a month, but that game had released already with
mhm
60 and 30, and like it had already
mhm
released as a full game, but they needed a little bit more time to add, I think, the VRR modes. Um,
mhm
but dude, once they did and they fixed some of the little technical issues they had, like the game, the 17 or 1.7 or 1.17 or whatever the hell it was, the most recent update before the one that just dropped today was absolutely stunning. It took a beautiful game and like just made it more beautiful,
mhm
more beautiful. That's it.
mhm
I have a college degree, or I'm a few hours short of a college degree, but still, I went to school at a high level for 4 more years, and I still can't talk or say words right. So it's,
It happens when you become a parent. I fully
bro,
understand.
bro, my kids have sapped every bit of sanity and brain power I have.
Mm.
Whatever I have left, I use for Square Enix video games. That's,
Right.
but
But
so
let's go back. Let's go back to the series consoles and stuff. So he was kind of saying, okay, so PlayStation, they've got the one device for that launch window. What they're going to do down the road, whether they're going to start doing PC closer, but still they are working on one device at a time. They're doing the PS5. That's what they're doing. And then a year later, they're some of the games that they've sent to PC, they are taking that year. Take notes, Microsoft. They've taken that year to optimize it and get it ready for the PC. Okay. So people say, oh, well, what about Last of Us Part 1? Okay, that's one out of how many? Half a dozen that they've sent over there that's had more bugs than it probably should have. But whatever happened there. But, go back to the series consoles. All they care about is Game Pass. All they care about is Game Pass, Game Pass Cloud, a Game Pass Cloud, a Game Pass Cloud. They don't care where you play, as long as you give them that. I mean, we've heard this so much. As long as you pay them $10-15 a month, they don't care where you play. So and it sucks for people that have a Series X, Series S, because they're not prioritizing the hardware. And I don't know how many times you got to say that stuff, but with the management that they got, going back to management, with the management they have, it's never going to change. It's never going to change. They're not going to prioritize that hardware. For who mainly buys that? The hardcore people mainly buy that. Your hardcore people that like playing on console. So you're never going to see it change until a management changes, until you see, the vision right now is Game Pass subscription. We're working towards cloud, getting that set up and ready. And if you want to play on your phone, your TV, your water heater, whatever, that's got a
your
screen
fridge,
on it.
you can do a mini
Yeah.
fridge.
I mean, people joke around about that, but I mean, some of that stuff's smart enough that you could do that if you wanted to. Why you would want to, I don't know. But anyway, it really boils down to that, in my opinion. It boils down to they've taken what used to be the focus, what used to make them great, and what makes Sony great now is they're focusing on that particular device, and that's why we're seeing all these bad releases, all these buggy games, all these games that look like Redfall, all these games that look like Halo. And it is what it is. It's not the developers over there. It's the management. It's the management, and it's the vision of where they want it to go, and the priority that they put on that. In my opinion, that's what I think.
I think so. I mean, I don't even, I don't know. I want to say it's management, but I want to clarify, like, it's upper management. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
don't think that it's, like you said, I don't think it's studio heads necessarily. Like,
Mm-mm.
I honestly
No.
think that if Starfield doesn't do well, I think Todd Howard will leave.
Mm-hmm.
Like, or, plot twist, speculation, I think Phil Spencer goes bye-bye and Todd Howard takes over.
You think Todd would take over?
I think he would. I think he's tired of, I, I don't know. He strikes me as a person who wants to make great games, and before he got as
Mm-hmm.
part of Xbox, he was totally okay waiting for a decade to release a game. He was totally okay not announcing games until they were ready, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, And then he goes with Xbox, and now he's like, oh, hey, Starfield. When's it coming out? Hey, Starfield. Like, oh, yeah. And he said, Nelson just said he got the politician in him just like Master of Phil, just like Phil, Master of BS. Like, he does. But I also think he knows what he's doing. Like, I don't
hmm
know. It's a pretty crappy situation when you have studio heads leaving constantly, and he's either gonna leave or I think he'll take over because I don't think they're gonna let Phil Spencer run this thing into the ground. Shake
I
and bake,
so
yes.
there's old church in the thing. Hey, church, what's up?
There's church. Man, we got an active chat
So
tonight. I like it.
if you were to put okay, you put Matt Booty and you put Herman Hulse side by side. You look at you look at the accomplishments. This is nothing physical appearance or anything, but you listen to Matt Booty and he's pretty pretty good speaker and stuff, I would say. But when he was on, I think it was kind of funny that one time when he was talking, and when they specifically asked him, Jez uses it a lot on his show. But when they asked him, what do you do? What do you do at Microsoft? I mean, what is your job? Well, he said, it's not. I go around the studios. I make sure that everything is going good. I make sure that
Oh yeah,
they are
that clip of
meeting
whatever they need.
that they're meeting their deadlines. That they're meeting the point, checkpoints that we have set up. We need to be here at this time. How are we doing here? How's it looking here on this part of the build phase and everything? That's what the first party guy does, in my opinion. They're going around making sure that everything is lining up, everything is meeting. And if you need to, they're doing short term and they're doing long term, to the end of the development and getting the game out. So there's different phases through there, but they're looking at it through the whole time. And if stuff changes, they're the ones to tell them, okay, we need to change this up. Yeah, go ahead and do that. But he was like, just make sure they got no roadblocks, make sure they ain't got nothing in their way so they can design games. What do you mean design? You're the head of the first party. You're the one telling them what to do. Do you think Shuhei Yoshida went in there? Did you watch the documentary of Raising Kratos? I don't
No,
know
I
if you ever
didn't.
watched that.
Who?
With I can't think of his name now offhand.
I'm sure I can find it on YouTube.
So Shuhei had Herman Hulse's job. He was first party, and he went into oh my gosh, God of War. Cory Barlog was studio head, and he went in and they had the ideas. And in the documentary, he said he went in and sat down, and he told them where they were at. These were the ideas. This is how we're progressing. And Shuhei just looked at him and said, I don't like any of that. That's some of the stupidest stuff I've ever heard. It's like more or less, you better get stuff changed or else, was more or less what it was. And Corey said he came in there thinking, okay, I thought we were doing a pretty good job. And Shuhei's like, this ain't working. No, absolutely not. So that to me is what they're missing at Microsoft. That, like, when Herman walks into the studio, I bet people sort of perk up and like, oh, hey, Herman's here, shh, get to work, make sure you're working. It's not when Booty gets here, it's probably like, oh, gosh, it's that guy again.
It's that guy.
Lock the door, don't let him in. I think that's the difference in mentality there, to me. And that's why we're seeing, and then also the Game Pass and the focus on cloud and the focus not on the console.
Sorry, Nelson just said, he said 2 creams, 1 sugar, booty coffee. Like, that's what it sounds like. It sounds like he's a glorified secretary to the studios.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you know that, like, Sony, when they're doing a game or something, I Okay, sweet. All right. Sorry, my I finally got past that stupid spot that was screwing me over. Um, I had to reload the whole quest. That sucks. Anyways,
That
um,
does suck.
when the studios here at PlayStation, like I work for them, Lord Jesus, surprise plot twist, I actually work for PlayStation. No, I'm just totally kidding. Um, anyways, I got my first S. Hey, look at that. The um, the thing that they do is like they'll show their games off to other studios within the PlayStation like family,
Hmm.
and like then they all get excited for each other. They all help each other. They have so much. I was listening to something. I don't remember what it was, but it was talking about how it was around the time Spider-Man 2 was or Spider-Man Miles Morales was coming out, and they were like, yeah, we actually, the way our network of studios works is we have open communication between all of our studios and all of our people, and they send clips to each other to like have them look at it, have them give their feedback, like what do they think, like
Hmm.
so
Yeah, I've
you
heard that.
have
Yeah.
like oh my gosh, what do you need booty for? You don't. That I don't think
Mm-mm.
Jim Ryan is going to these studios and going, "Hey guys, we got to see what we're doing. Do you have any roadblocks?" No, no. Or it's Insomniac going. I mean, we did, but we talked to Naughty Dog on how they did like their ray tracing or their screen space reflections, and they kind of gave us some of their like ideas, and it works with our engine, so we're gonna be able to put that in here. So no, we're fine. Like
Yeah.
I doubt he's doing that. He's going, "Hey, show me the game."
Just think
Like,
back to when that job role opened up and they're going, okay, we need to figure out who we need as our first party, head of first party, and they're sitting around the boardroom and stuff and go, I've got a wild idea, but I've got the perfect guy. Matt Booty from Minecraft. Oh, that's awesome. That's what we need. We need Minecraft over here. I mean,
uh,
uh,
we
it's
sorry. We need, and now all their games look like the trees were made in Minecraft. It's full circle.
it's just it's
I
just
can't say all because I'm gonna give them their flowers. Uh, shoot, crap. Now I can't even think of the game I'm trying to give them flowers on. Horizon. Shoot, Forza Horizon. Uh,
hmm
that game actually, I've seen gameplay of it, and it looks really good. It's
hmm
it's not as impressive as GT7, but they're different games. Like they're
hmm
racers, but one is more of a simulation racer, and
Yeah,
one is
one's
more of an
salmon.
arcade style. And
Yeah,
not arcade
one's
style,
one's
but
open world. Yeah,
thank you.
open
Yeah, that's
world.
what I mean. But like,
hmm
I don't want anybody to think I'm calling Forza Horizon like Cruising USA or anything. It's that's not what I mean. Once again,
Yes,
nobody else
but
probably knows what that
can
is.
you run through the hillside on GT7 and run over kangaroos and get points for it?
Okay, so
Oh
you
yeah.
do know. I would always show up to the movie theater early because they always had Cruising USA or Cruising the World,
Uh,
and I would always drop like $5 on that before I went to go watch the movie. It was like a tradition that I did when I was younger. But no, man, it's crazy that this is the state of Xbox, and don't I don't like it for Xbox, man. Like I follow Dark's
mm-mm,
channel, Doc Dark. I
mm-hmm,
follow his channel, and you mentioned this earlier, and I legitimately feel bad for him. Like,
mm-hmm,
and others that, because right now there's nobody who is saying release Redfall. There are people who are pissed, or there are people who are saying just delay the game. Like, those are
mm-hmm,
the two camps of Xbox people right now. Like, either we're angry or just release the game. Like, I give up.
mm-hmm.
I don't want games right now. Just release it, please. Or just delay it. Like, that's that's very telling when, yeah, we can make fun of PlayStation when they're like, we're going to give you a Q Lite. No, you're not. Like, I don't know who's going to buy that heaping turd, but if it's over $200, it's not this guy. Like,
Oh yeah.
like, not unless they say, well, we're going to put an SSD cartridge in it. It's going to have streamlining. It's going to have all the same kind of specs that the PS5 does. Uh, but it's just going to be like you're not going to have all these processors running in the background like you do on a mobile phone or an iPad. So it's going to be better. It's going to be processed. Sure, talk it up however you want. But at the end of the day, if it's just a second screen, I'm not paying your freaking $300 price tag that I guarantee you that they're going to try to put on it because it has that
Hmm.
dang PlayStation. We can talk bad about PlayStation. I do it frequently, actually. But like at the end
Hmm.
of the day, I got hundreds of games that I can play. Like,
Hmm.
I have a
Oh yeah.
backlog that is insane. And there's more games coming out. Like, I want to give Diablo 4 a try. Now, I'm going to wait till it goes free to play because it will. And probably not in the first year. I'm full of shit. I'm probably going to try it after a few months, after it goes on sale. I might pick it up on Black Friday. But I'm going to try that. But it's not one of my top three. it's
Hmm.
it's not one of the ones that has me going, yeah, I really need that game. And I think that's, you know what, let's go ahead and continue. Let's get into the next point because I feel like we're
Hmm.
beating a horse that's died and is barely breathing. Which is like,
Maybe we can get Church to back over it with that car he just sent.
dude, that freaking Mario car, he sent it to me. I want that. I want that in a Hot Wheels, like so bad. That would be freaking awesome. Um,
Uh,
But anyways, let's continue. I'm trying to find my freaking I am not a professional again, and my phone is being stupid, so it's not letting me pull up. Dude, I have a
oh
phone that
the
I just paid off, and
mhm.
ever since then it's been doing weird stuff, like overheating and just it's just been weird.
Mhm.
Like I'm I fully believe that they do this crap on purpose.
Oh yeah,
Um,
I think so.
Okay, so we hit Horizon, we hit Ghostwire, we went off on a little bit of a tangent. Ghostwire, for those who didn't hear, the stupid thing is going to run at 90 or 900p. That's so hard to say because it shouldn't ever be possible. It's going to run at 900p on the Series S with 60 frames per second, but that's not locked and it jumps a ton.
Mhm.
And okay, so let's get into the next thing. We're gonna skip the next topic. We're gonna come back to
Mhm.
it, but I want to hit PlayStation again. So PlayStation has been very silent.
Mhm.
They and I understand like games do the talking. I get that. It's one of the most epic clips I've ever seen where he's like, you know what, this is enough about me. This show's not about me. Let's let our games do the talking. Like
Mhm.
mic drop, whip it out on the table. Like whatever phrase you want to use there, he does it right there. But they have been way more silent than I think they should be right now. Like, so
I've
go ahead, go
oh
ahead. I'll
go,
let you.
go go
No,
ahead.
no, no, no. Wait, weigh in on this.
Well, I think PlayStation is probably more silent than they usually are in the last couple of years, but I think it does weigh in with the ABK deal and the regulators and all that that they really both sides are kind of just walking on eggshells, staying back, trying not to put out too much info, trying not to make themselves look too good. Um, but you just mentioned about let our games do the talking, but even with the even with the second party deals or even third party deals, we're looking at Square Enix with or not Square Enix, but with the Final Fantasy here. The famous producer there at the beginning, he was basically the same way. He said a few things. We're just going to let the game do it, talking more or less what he was meaning, and they let it roll and they let it do, and I think PlayStation fans, you kind of have them droughts, but when they see something like that, it keeps them talking, and it keeps them uh, excited for what the next thing's going to be. So, we didn't get a showcase at all last year. It's been since 21 when they showed Spider-Man and Wolverine and them and stuff. And even the first 30 minutes of that, people were getting worried because it was all second and third party stuff until they showed the last 4 games. Or was that, yeah. It was 20 or 21, whichever one that was.
I think it was 21 because they didn't have one last year. And that's what, yeah, it was 21 because they didn't have one last year, and then it's because it's going to be almost a full year and a half since they've had a showcase, or it is a full year and a half now since they had a showcase.
Now, so the hype of them showcases, I'm always excited for the PlayStation showcases. That one in 2020, when they showed the PS5 reveal, finally revealed, but even you think back then, there was a lot of hype of, there was no. PlayStation's pretty tight-lipped. Sony is not letting stuff leak out or anything. But people didn't know what that PlayStation was going to look like. They didn't even know if it was going to be there at that show, and then it ended up showing up at the end. And it just raised a lot of excitement. I was blown away when I seen it. Then when it panned back around and it showed the digital one right next to it. I mean, I thought that was great. You go back, you go to 21 when they showed GT7, they showed Spider-Man, they showed Wolverine, then they showed God of War, and got to see that first, or that was actually the second gameplay trailer of God of War. People just enough to keep them talking. People talked about that in podcasts. People wrote articles about that stuff for months. And I think even some of Xbox's showcases were better than what they had been doing in prior years. They had some pretty good ones and stuff, and then you go to like Keeley's. They usually have, a few good things there at that stuff. I know people are hit and miss on him and stuff. So them being quiet, I think they're probably a little more quiet just because of what's going on with the whole acquisition stuff. Personally, that's what I think. But really, I mean, PlayStation really, they don't really say much until they're ready to show something. But when they get ready to show something, it's worth it. At least that's my opinion. When they're ready to show it, it's usually worth the wait. So I think this showcase missing for a year and a half, I think it's going to be something special. And then what we've heard in the last couple of years about, we've got these so many games in development, 25 games or whatever. And now we've got 10 or 12 multiplayer games that they're working on, and all the different things in the studios. And to me, it's exciting. I mean, would you like to hear it more often? Yeah, yes and no. It don't bother me too much. But I know it bothers some people more.
So here's the thing that bothers me. Okay, I don't need a showcase every year. I'm fine. The state of plays are good fillers. Like, here's my biggest concern. We have 19 studios. I just Googled this. They have 19 studios under the PlayStation banner. Okay? That's not including their exclusive deals that they have with, Square Enix or any other company, right? That doesn't include any of that. That's just their, boom, these are PlayStation studios. So we know that Factions 2 is being worked on. We know that, Guerrilla was doing Horizon, the DLC, the expansion or whatever we want to call that, the standalone, Burning Shores. We know that there's one other one. Well, who's the other one? We know Insomniac is doing Spider-Man. And outside of that, so outside of their big three, we don't really know for certain that Sucker Punch is actively working and developing Ghost of Tsushima 2. Unless I missed an announcement, we don't know for fact that that's what they're working on. there is heavy speculation, and they would be insane not
Mm-hmm.
to be working on it. But
Mm-hmm.
and with the movie coming or the TV show coming out or movie, it's a movie. With the movie coming out
Mm-hmm.
and all that, people can kind of put two and two together. But out of 19 studios, we only have hard facts on 3 of them.
Mm-hmm.
So I also understand that all those studios are not um, like game development studios, right? Like you have
Mm-hmm.
Nixus that does their ports. You have there's a couple of other back end studios. We know Firesprite is
Fire
working
Sprite,
on
yeah.
something.
Mm-hmm.
We know what their game is. Abso-freaking-lutely. I agree. Byron Cutler just said he that I needed Returnal 2, and I agree. I can't get past the first freaking biome of Returnal 1, and I want Returnal 2. Like that is the most infuriating shooting game I've ever played in my life. But it's really fun. And there's occasions where I'll re-download it and I'll play it for a couple weeks
Mm-hmm.
and just like hop in, try to get through the first biome, fail a few times, and then put it back down. But like,
Right.
it's really fun. So I want a showcase because I
Oh
at
yeah.
least want to know, okay, cool, here's the games that are coming out. That's awesome. Now, I'll also concede that this year doesn't need to be a year of first party exclusives necessarily for Sony. It doesn't. They had a
Mm-hmm.
banger year last year. And this year, one or two, with all the third party heavy releases that came out this year and that are going to come out this year,
Mm-hmm.
they don't need to release much this year. They can kind of work on their games, develop games, just do what they're doing, and that's okay. But
Mm-hmm.
I need to see something for the horizon. No pun intended.
Mm-hmm.
Is that
I
that's
mean,
just me though. Like the
I
silence
mean,
is almost deafening.
they don't need to, but like you said, there's 3 studios on the 19. A couple of them are support, but what if every one of those? And we know that some of those studios are doing 2 or 3 projects at the same time.
Right. Hell,
Um,
Bungie's working on a new IP. Give me
hmm
something.
And if we don't see anything from Bungie this year, it will definitely be next year because they've already said their next IP is projected. They said this like 1 or 2 years ago before they even got acquired. They said 2025 is where we're looking for our next IP. So I don't know. I think Bungie would probably see it, but think if every one of those studios showed up, first party showed up at the showcase to show something, whether it be just a cinematic trailer of something new that's coming, of just to put that out there, or hey, this game's coming in 8 months. This thing's going to be here at holiday 2023. Um, that creates a lot of hype. And I really think this showcase that's going to happen. I think it's going to, because I think the one from 2020 was spectacular. I mean, that was a really good showcase, one of the best I've seen. I think this one, if that's what we're hearing, what we, use common sense and go, yeah, uh, they're going to show something. I mean, but a lot of people said this on podcasts. A lot of people said this in articles all last year, as the months went on. Well, they got
Mm-hmm.
to do it. They can't, and they didn't do it. But I think there's a greater chance of this now because they've already put um, fall. Yeah, they've already put fall for Spider-Man. So they could just put out like they did with Horizon and just do all the hype trailers and the gameplay trailers, and they promoted the crud out of Forbidden West. They did an excellent job promoting that, but what better to hype up a show, than one of your top titles, Spider-Man 2. Everybody wants to play it, and you got the other superhero. You got Wolverine, which is probably one of the most popular characters out there that people love. They want to see something about that. There was already rumors of a possible, you know, whatever it was. I can't remember if it was gameplay or like Logan walking through that outside in the streets from where that little cinematic trailer was. I don't remember what it was. But I don't know what that was from. But there's so many other different games that you got all these multiplayer games. I think they're loading up the magazine. They're ready to hit, and I think when they do, I think it's gonna exceed expectations. Because you go to some of these state of plays that they did, but their state of plays, they tell you up front, this is what it is. This is what's going to be in there. This is not going to be in there.
And it's like the indie one. Dude, that indie one, I literally watched it afterwards just so I could fast forward until something caught my eye. I was like, most of these games look like dog crap or mobile titles. And I was like, I just wasn't impressed with it. And
but PlayStation's really good about bringing back that nostalgic factor and incorporating into what's going, in the future. Going back to that 2020 showcase when Jim Ryan was there at the beginning, he said the opening stuff, but before he came on, you had that opening cinematic of all of their franchises over the years, and it had the old PlayStation logo, and then it transformed. I think it transformed into the new one or whatever, and then it went to Jim Ryan. He was there for about 30 seconds. Boom! It went straight into what? Miles Morales. So.
And then broke the freaking internet.
Yeah.
Dude, I'll be honest. I know you know this because you've followed us for a while in the streams, and you're all over like TikTok and all, or not TikTok, Twitter and all that. But I bought a new TV recently. And I just, like, when you said that, I was like, dude, I haven't tried Miles Morales on this new TV yet. And
oh, man.
I need to put that in because, dude, I'll tell you, when you go VRR with HDR10, like, the colors go nuts. I wish when I was streaming that everyone could see the color clarity that I have, because it's freaking nuts. Actually, I posted on somebody's thing earlier. I think it was Salty, actually. He was talking about OLED snobs, like the OLED snobs. And I was like, listen. And somebody said, I'll never go back OLED all the way, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, listen, my Hisense U8H would like to enter this conversation now. Like, it's like, because I had the choice between this or an OLED with VRR. And I chose this TV because of how bright it was and the color clarity. Like, yes, the blacks aren't black, right? Like, they're not fully perfect black like you can get on an OLED. But, dude, the color quality in this thing is just insane. And it was $1,000 less than that other TV. So, it was like a no-brainer. But, yeah, I'm a huge showcase fan because I like to be excited for games that are coming out, and now that they don't do, the Game Informer, the PlayStation Lifestyle, the magazines were where we used to get that information, right? You'd get Game Informer in the mail, and you'd open it up, and you'd read it, and you'd see all these games that are coming out, and then Game Informer took a crap, and GameStop is taking a crap right now, and we don't have that anymore. So those were like little mini showcases. Every month you got a little hit, you got a little taste of, oh, cool, this game's coming out. Oh, awesome, they did a full spread over this. That's great. Like, that was my had Game Informer 1993 to 2015. Nice, Nelson. Like, that's what these showcases are now to me. They're the only opportunity to get actual information from the actual source, right? It's no longer, it's not Jim Ryan coming out there and going, hey guys, I have a good source that tells me that, these games might be in development right. No, he is the freaking dude. He's the guy who tells us what is actually coming out and actually on the slate, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so it's a way to build hype and put that energy towards things that are actually coming. Like, how many times have we heard, "Oh man, they need to revitalize a Killzone," or "They need to
SOCOM
revitalize," or
or yeah.
SOCOM, or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. Like, or man, they need to make a
Resistance
Titanfall
3
3 or
or yeah.
Resist. Right. Like, we hear those rumors all the time. Firesprite said they're working on a new title. I bet it's Killzone. No, it's not Killzone. Well, okay. Like, when it comes
Mm-hmm.
from the horse's mouth, it is much easier to get excited about it. And that's why I like them. But I also understand what you said, that they're probably being really silent right now because they don't need anything to blow back in their face until after this stupid ABK deal is done. And that's all I'm gonna mention about ABK. We're not.
Mm-hmm.
Nope. I
Yeah.
don't. I don't discuss that anymore. I hate that topic. It's a dead topic.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's a horror game. What? Nelson, what are you talking about? I want an Atreus offshoot game. That would be awesome. It's a horror game and Twisted Metal. Now, okay, so once again, rumors. Rumors are that there is a studio that is working on Twisted Metal. Fire Sprite. There we go. Yeah, I'm
Mm-hmm.
sorry. Fire Sprite is announced. So we have 4 studios out of 19 that have announced what they're doing. Take out another 5
Mm-hmm.
for back end studios, and we're still left with 11 other studios. I think I did the math right. We're still left with 11 other studios that we have no idea what they're working on. And so
Okay. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was
Oh.
going to say, so it's the whole thing of, and we've pointed this out on the Saltiest Gaming pod. Woolies actually pointed it out quite often. Xbox talks too much and
Mm-hmm.
PlayStation talks too little. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I've heard him say that quite a bit. Yeah. But he's right. He's right. Um. But what if PlayStation comes out with a showcase? What if they come out and you see Spider-Man 2? That's pretty much a given. You see Wolverine. You see Twisted Metal. You see Factions. And what was the other one I was just thinking of? What if you do see, I think this one would be a big hype. What if you do see Ghost 2, Ghost of Tsushima 2? Or like Nelson said earlier, what if you see Returnal 2 pop up? What if you had those 6 right there? Would that not kill the internet right there? Just those? I mean, because
I,
it's a different variety of different types of games, somewhat. Uh, and that would be probably 20 minutes worth of showing. I mean, because most of them are probably in early development, so they're not going to have really gameplay of some of them except for Spider-Man, um, or maybe one other. But I don't know how long Fire Sprite's been messing. I guess they probably just started. I think they just started Twisted Metal, didn't they?
yeah, supposedly
I
they just started Twisted Metal, but aren't they working on like some mega multiplayer online bull crap?
I think so. Yeah, I think they're one of the studios that's working on multiples, and one of them's multiplayer, I believe.
That's what I
You
was
know,
thinking. But like,
you
yeah, I mean, they would literally break the internet. There's no question about that. It would destroy the thing.
I mean, you got Deviation Studios that you remember when they showed that article that showed their studio, and it was nothing but DualSense controllers all throughout the studio on the walls, and it was all lit up and
It's
different colors and everything else and all that stuff, and but that is let's see, they have what they got X Bungie, they got X Call of Duty. I can't remember which studios from Call of Duty they had, whether it was like Sledgehammer or which ones it was specifically. Um,
yeah, I
but they've
mean,
got a lot of top tier talent at Deviation. Then you got the Jade Raymond one that's making the other one. Um, that's supposed to. I can't remember what the last thing we heard about that one was. Um, but yeah, I
Yeah,
think
I
there's a lot
mean,
of good things.
so one of the things, and I'll address this now, deviation, or not deviation, Nelson is like, he's in the chat letting us know, like, hey, uh, this company or this development studio is making this type of game or this development, and I
Oh,
get
that's right.
that.
Yeah,
I,
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
know that we know what kind of games are coming out, but like, I want to see something. Like, even Atlas Fallen, right? That game actually has my
Hmm.
interest. I won't buy it new, but unless it comes out in 2024. But that game has my interest. It really does. I think that it looks really cool. It looks fun. I think if they polish out the combat and kind of if the combat's good, then uh, oh, that's right. Deviation is most of the core of Treyarch. Yep. But if that comes out and they can show some kind of footage, they can get it to where it actually is fun to play. Because right now, I'll be honest, it looks like Outriders meets Forspoken, which doesn't really excite me much. Like the kind of where you just explore, you kill things, you have a few magical abilities. Like there's a lot of games like that right now. So what separates you? I need to know, right?
Hmm.
Like, but it looks fun. Uh, I like I said, there's a few things I want from it, but outside of that, it looks like a fun game. But give us something like that, like Atlas Fallen, where it was announced with a cinematic trailer, very short one, and then a year later we're getting another announcement. Like
Hmm.
I think
Yeah.
I understand why they're being quiet. I understand they don't need to talk right now. They really don't. Like
Hmm.
anybody who says that they need to say something is wrong. They don't need
Hmm.
to. They're the market leader. Their sales, Benji Sales did this earlier. PlayStation
I see.
sales are
I
freaking
seen that.
up. What was it? What was it? Here it is.
I
PlayStation for
sent the.
March, it
Yeah.
was up 400%.
Crazy, crazy. And
Four,
then for the
Lord
quarter
Jesus,
was 369% for the quarter. It's like
369 for the quarter.
crazy.
That's
And both, what was it? Both Nintendo and Microsoft were down.
Yeah, Nintendo has is reaching market saturation. They are. There's
Hmm.
Here's the deal. I have a Switch in my house. Like it's my son's, but I have a Switch in my house.
Hmm.
Everybody who wanted a Switch by this point has one. So they're able to get a few new people. They're able to maybe get some conversions over to OLED with Zelda coming out. But like
Hmm.
it's they need a new system because I think they've reached market saturation or are getting super close.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I think
we
so
need the
too.
bloopers. Yes. So that uh, Byron just mentioned that Blooper Team is working on another remake and they're not telling us what it is. And like we need to know. I want to get hyped for
Hmm.
that because I'll be honest, if it's Metal Gear Solid, I will not give a flying rip. I've never liked that series. It's not. That series came out around the same time that I remember Siphon Filter coming out.
Hmm.
And holy crap, there is a dragon on my screen. Okay. Sorry. Um, I remember it coming out around the same time as Siphon Filter, and just for some reason, those two game genres I just didn't like. It was. I don't like games that force a lot of stealth,
Hmm.
and that pretty much takes me out of every Metal Gear Solid and every Siphon Filter. Like it
Hmm.
just.
Yeah.
But Metal Gear's a goat. I know, Nelson. I know. I know. You and I have discussed this already. I'm not a Metal Gear fan. He said Nelson Gaming
But
says Switch is
you
still outselling Xbox. That's well, listen. That's
gotta yell at. We gotta yell at Nelson. Nelson. Stop that.
Stop it, Nelson. No, but like it's just
Go back to I think of Nelson off of The Simpsons when they yelled at him, and Nelson was always they Nelson, and he would do the ha ha. Ain't that the one that was Nelson? I'm
yes,
pretty sure that was. He would
yes,
just do that laugh. I could see
yes.
Nelson doing that.
Oh man. Okay, so you just made him laugh. He just did the ha ha. So let's talk about this real quick. So March software sales, okay?
hmm
RE4, Hogwarts Legacy, still, FIFA
hmm
23, GTA 5, good God, and then Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, okay?
hmm
So out of that list, Sony, I believe, had the marketing rights for Hogwarts, and I think they had the
hmm
marketing rights for RE.
Yep. Yeah, because they put on the showcase thing or whatever for the RE4
That's
and
right,
for
they did.
Hogwarts.
Yep.
I
So
do they have GTA 5 marketing rights? I
no,
think
no,
they
no, no, no.
no
I don't think they
no
have it
they don't.
anymore. I
Okay.
think they did, but I don't. I actually think
And then
Rockstar
they've
is
got
being
the
super
COD.
smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have
So.
COD right now. Yes.
hmm
They have
So they
COD.
got three of the five that we know of.
And then of course, FIFA, but EA is losing FIFA.
hmm
Um, and then, GTA 5, I think Rockstar is being super intelligent right now by just staying out of everything. Just
hmm
they're just they're just making games. They're like Capcom or Bandai. They're just gonna make games. And we're or we're just gonna milk the games that we have. But it's I want a showcase. I really do.
hmm
But I
Yeah.
also understand that they don't need one. But okay, so let's get into the last topic before I ask you about your favorite franchise and your favorite game in the franchise. And you're gonna make me sad with that because you already told me. But still, let's um, let's go here. Game Pass effect. Okay, so I watched a few videos today, and almost every single one
hmm
was talking about this Game Pass effect and is it real or is it fake or is it whatever. And, I think Doc Dark mentioned it, Lono on Reforge mentioned it, and there was a Dreamcast guy also mentioned kind of the Game Pass effect. Now, I know that a lot of times we can get into this echo chamber where we just spout off what another person is saying. So
hmm
I'm going to try to approach it a little different because the common thread has been it's completely fake and it's not a thing. No, because all these games were in development and Doc Dark brought up the point that all the classic games have become nothing more than Game Pass, shovelware, well, like not shovelware, but Game Pass fodder. They're just to fill Game Pass. So it's not really a Game Pass effect because they've had a problem this whole time. And I agree with that to a certain extent. I think the Game Pass effect gives you games like Hi-Fi Rush, gives you
hmm
games like High on Life, um, which in their own right are decent games. They're fun games. I always talk about in my review videos the fun factor. Am I having fun? Because a
hmm
game can look gorgeous. Duh, Godfall. That game
hmm
was the most gorgeous piece of crap I've ever played. It looked great, but everything else about the game was just awful. Like it,
hmm
but it looked beautiful. So I mean, there's these it's great for your smaller projects, right? It's great for your smaller games. But when your studios are having to release games to get them to Game Pass and releasing them incomplete, It's not necessarily just because of Game Pass, but think about if Game Pass wasn't a thing. They would probably come out and say, "Hey, listen, Redfall's not ready yet. We really it's running, but we're wanting to beef up the performance on it and give you a good quality game that you can be proud of spending your $70 on." They
Mm-hmm.
don't have to say that now because of Game Pass. They can very easily now say that, "Hey, it's coming. So who cares if you play it now or play it in 2 months? It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
matter as long as we get the clicks, as long as we get the downloads." So I think even though it's not necessarily like they're not pushing the game out just to get numbers up on Game Pass, I think that
Mm-hmm.
they are pushing the games out to have games on Game Pass, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
it's
Yeah.
not necessarily the numbers, it's not necessarily, "Hey, we want to get this out so everybody can play it so we can play it right now." It's, "Hey, we got to get this out to keep the value of Game Pass up." Like, that's why they're saying Redfall is a $70 game. No.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just no. And Forspoken, everybody wants to compare Forspoken to Redfall and blah, blah, blah. Forspoken is not a $70 title. I spent $30 on my copy of Forspoken, and I am
Mm-hmm.
now playing it. But, like, it bothers me when folks want to blame Game Pass all the way because once again that Doc Dark video, he made a great point in saying that we're going to find out how bad Game Pass is or how good it can be in the next 2 years when the games that these studios that they're purchasing are working on go full
Mm-hmm.
Xbox, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
we'll see. But I think that if they didn't have the Game Pass like market, that they would just delay these games indefinitely and say, "Hey, listen, they're just not ready." But because they need to keep building value in Game Pass, they need to
Mm-hmm.
keep people on the hook for that $15 a month because let's do simple math here. $15 a month is $180 a year.
Mm-hmm.
So you're getting people to spend $60 times 3 is 180. You're getting them to buy 3 new games a year, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're giving them all these smaller titles and only releasing 2 big new games a year that go to Game Pass, then you're still technically making your money,
Mm-hmm.
right? I mean, that's simple math, right? You're still making your money. But if you go 2 full years without giving a AAA title, then you have just devalued Game Pass in a way that is, I would say, almost irrecoverable. Irrecoverable.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
You Game Pass, I mean, I can talk about my personal experience with it over the last 3 years. I actually canceled mine today. I've canceled it numerous times over the 3 years and went back. But, Game Pass is, why is the real reason most people get Game Pass? It's just a promise. It's a promise of Xbox's big first party AAA bangers. They're coming. You're going to get them day one. But we have yet to see hardly any of them. Halo Infinite, I don't think that was a banger. Horizon Horizon 5, that was a good one. That was a banger in there. So they had one good one. It's not AAA, but the Hi-Fi Rush, I think that was a good one that came in there. And they were like a lot on the third party coming in. But my personal experience with it, when I was first told about it back in late 2019, I think it was in 2020, it was my coworker at work. Yeah, he was telling me about it, and I was like, I hadn't even heard about Game Pass because I was just playing Destiny, I didn't worry about anything else, and I was like, Game Pass. I was like, what is that? I was like, I hadn't even heard the term. So, it had been out for 2 years now, but I wasn't on Xbox. I was PlayStation. I was on my PlayStation 4 just playing away. And I remember the first time he told me about it, I was like, what? I was like, yeah, you get over 100 games. And he would show me on his app. He's like, look, that game you were talking about that you bought on PlayStation, it's right here on Game Pass. You can just download it and play it. I was like, what? I was like, but you don't own it. That was my first thought. I was like, you don't own it. Well, you just rent it? That's pretty much common sense, right? Pretty much just common sense. Well, you don't
Right.
own it. You're just renting it. But you slowly like, all right, I'll give it a try. So I bought his old Xbox One, the VCR one, the original Xbox One, and tried it. And I did the dollar deal. But to me, it has always been overwhelming. Even the PS, the like I got the premium here on PlayStation just because I had got the Now before they switched over to the new stuff, so it prorated it over. But I don't ever play stuff. I don't ever play any of that stuff. I played like one MotorStorm on there. I played, I think, and Mortal Kombat I played on there. Um, but it was just the older games that I was playing on there. But I found on Game Pass, to me personally, it was too overwhelming, and I kind of see that with the PlayStation one too. The big catalog like that. Um, people are going to say, "Oh, you're talking about big catalog." Well, what about all the hundreds of games you own, and you got to go through them? Well, that's basically what it is. I mean, but that same kind of feeling when you go start scrolling down through hundreds and hundreds of games, trying to figure out something. Unless you've got an idea of what you want to do, I think it's the same thing with these streaming services and with these games. I just got to where I think I played. I don't think it's not. I think it's like I know that I played less because of that. Because I was so indecisive, and I just scroll through, and I would just finally just go, I don't even feel like playing now. I would just shut it off and go do something else. So to me, I don't know. Game Pass made me play less games, but maybe I'm different than 99% of the other people that play on Game Pass. I don't know, but I finally just got tired of paying for all that. But to go back to what I originally said, it's just you're paying for a promise, waiting for these games to drop, and what they've dropped here so far, what's coming out May 2nd with Redfall. I mean, if that's any indication, hopefully Starfield's not like that. You don't want these games to be bad. You want them to come out good and everything, But I don't know. It's like you always hear. It's feeding Game Pass, and the quality goes down. Even going back to Booty for a second, Matt Booty
I'd rather not.
Was in an interview, and they asked him that, and he goes, "Well, I can see." And I know Jez has played that on his thing. He goes, "Well, I actually see him." He actually said, "I can see him being more of our games coming out being more a double leg of frequency." I think he used the word frequency. Like he was more or less talking about it was that whole thing where he was talking about doing more with less, because Satya had mentioned that too, about doing more with less. That was right before the layoffs, or right when the layoffs hit. Talking about doing more with less. And then Matt Booty had an interview about that, about the games, and it all sort of tied in. Of course, Jez jumped on that like a lion and had it with the soundboard and everything going off. But but it does make sense. But I
It
don't
does,
know.
and when you think about the way both companies are ran, so we were talking a little bit about Deviation Games. They lost their co-founder. He left. But
Mm-hmm.
because that type of stuff is so rare in the PlayStation like studios, it didn't even make a blip really on the radar. Like, oh, he left. Oh, okay, cool. Like, whatever. Like, it was, but because the sky is falling over at Xbox, like,
Mm-hmm.
when another person leaves, you're like, oh my God, that's like seven, eight. Oh shoot, now we have nine? Good Lord, how many more are they gonna lose? And it's, it's like, and I know they keep taking L after L, so they're losing a lot. But like, it just, hang on, somebody just said something. DM this. Oh, yeah, I will. So Nelson sent me uh, a meme, and it was Baby Yoda had fallen asleep, and it says, "This is me after playing a Game Pass game for 10 minutes after taking an hour to choose it." It's so true. Like, it goes back to what you were saying. It's that Netflix effect. I can't tell you how many times I've gotten on like Netflix, which I don't really. My kids watch Netflix now, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't watch TV much anymore. But when I used to, I'd get on Netflix and just scroll and scroll and scroll, and then I realized that I spent all the extra time I had before I had to get in bed and go to sleep for work the next day, just scrolling Netflix trying to make a decision. And
Mm-hmm.
like that sucks because it I'm one of those people who gets paralyzed by a lot of decisions, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I actually I'm a premium subscriber. I wasn't supposed to be, but I am. I actually was going to downgrade to the extra because I don't need all of that. I still prefer to buy my games. I like that the quality of games that they're giving us on uh, just the PlayStation Plus Essentials is still really good. Like it's not like they're
Mm-hmm.
screwing us over on that. Like games with gold screws over Xbox players. Like it does, dude.
Yeah,
Games with gold is a
it is.
joke.
Oh, it's
It is
yeah, yeah.
awful. But like we're still getting pretty decent. Hell, I got sack balls. Jesus. Uh, I'm so sorry for anybody who just joined. That's my bad. That's that was a total slip. My bad. Anyways, I got Sackboy, and like my son plays that. I play that. Like we share an
Mm-hmm.
account, and so I'll get on there, and he's done like two more levels, and like then I go back and try to complete them and find stuff, and he's like, "No, Dad, you can't go that way. You got to go this way." And I'm like, "Okay, fine, whatever." But like stuff like that we end up getting is good still in that service. And so any I like I said, I don't necessarily think the Game Pass is bad. I think that the implementation that they're doing for Game Pass is causing their games to come out in incomplete states. Because if they didn't have Game Pass, they wouldn't have to try to build value in it. If you don't have to build value, you don't
Mm-hmm.
have to give these quote unquote $70 titles to people to play. So you can say, well, look, we gave you Hi-Fi Rush. That was a $30 title. We gave you Redfall. That was a $70 title. You're getting Starfield, another $70. Boom. If those three games are the only games you played, you just paid for your service for the year.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
look at all the other stuff you get to do. Like, no, that just because somebody says a laptop is worth $800 doesn't mean it's an $800 laptop. That just means that
Mm-hmm.
somebody randomly came up and gave a price on it and said, "Hey, you know, that's what it's worth." I always so I sold cars for years, and I thank God I don't do that anymore. But I sold cars for years, and people would always come in with their Kelly Blue Book number, right? And say, "Hey,
Mm-hmm.
this is the number that Kelly Blue Book says that I should pay for that." And if they really like hammered that home and just wanted to be kind of jerks about it, I would say, "Okay, great. Find where Kelly Blue Book says they're going to buy your vehicle now."
Mm-hmm.
If if
Mm-hmm.
they're going to give you $20,000 for it, and that's what they say it's worth, where's the buy button?
Mm-hmm.
Because you can put a number on anything. Like that doesn't mean that that's
Yeah.
reality. But they have to do it because it builds value. They bring that sheet of paper to me because in their mind that meant that they should get at least close to that. And so it builds value in what they're trying to sell. And so I mean that's why dealerships put $50,000 stickers on a Silverado knowing they're going to take $12,000 off
Hmm.
because it builds value, right? And so they're trying to build that V word with Game Pass, and it's leading to games coming out incomplete that don't need to. Like, dear God, let's go back to our first topic. Revisit that. Um, Not Deathloop. Dang, same studio, wrong game. Um, Lord help. Not Redfall, not Deathloop. The other one, the one that Ghostwire Tokyo. There we go. Like that, it doesn't need to be released exactly 1 year after it came to the PlayStation. There was a 1 year release window that PlayStation had the exclusive rights to.
Hmm.
Awesome. So you know what that means? That means after that year you can release it. Doesn't mean, there's one thing that I'll always remember, and it's basically just because you can doesn't mean you should. Like,
Hmm. Right.
I tell my kids that all the time. My wife tells our kids that all the time. Listen, just because you can doesn't mean you should have. And so, like, I just think that's what's going on right now. Like, they're doing a lot of stuff just because they can, and they probably shouldn't. They
Hmm.
just should probably take it easy. And I love this game. I'm playing Valkyrie Elysium and it's so fun, but they just shouldn't do what they're doing right now. They need to say screw it. If you want to cancel your Game Pass for a couple months, whatever. We're not going to be able to give you the
Hmm.
value we thought out of it right now, and we need to delay this so we can actually give you better games and quality
Hmm.
that you deserve. Make it spin it. Make it all about the players. I know that's not the case, but make it all about the players. Like, listen, guys, do that bullshit. We've heard you. We're
Hmm.
listening. All the other crap that they like to say, and we're gonna delay this. And we're sorry. We understand that you pay for Game Pass and it's a good service, and we're trying to get games out on it. But we also need to make sure the quality's right.
Hmm.
And I think if they came out and said that, I would actually have a little bit of respect for them. Not much, but a little bit.
Hmm.
I mean, you would earn a few points and be able to say, hey, you know, at least they're trying to look out for them. Like, the report came out that they were supposed to have a big showcase last year for PlayStation, and instead of pushing that showcase through, a lot of the studios were like, listen, we're not ready yet. And they were like, okay, cool, we'll just delay it. Like it
Hmm.
was like it was nothing. Just okay, fine, whatever. We're gonna charge $70 for these games when they come out anyways. I don't care. Like they better be
Hmm.
worth it. And so that's the show tonight, guys. I just wanted to kind of cover a few topics. Um, I when I started this, I said I probably wouldn't make it a weekly thing, and I still don't want to tie myself down to that. It has been a weekly thing. I'm also trying to find the day that works because I don't want to make conflict with any of the other guys who I do support. So I try not to do a stream on I try not to do a show like this on say a Friday night or a Monday or a Thursday because I'm a member of the Saltiest Gaming podcast. Jez does his show on Monday. King Thrash does his show on Friday, I believe, and then I think he does a Sunday one also. But like, I don't want to cannibalize other people's audiences when I'm trying to get exposure from those audiences. Like, right,
Hmm.
I think a lot of our uh, a lot of the same people who watch King Thrash also watch Salty or also watch Jez. Like, there's a lot of the
Hmm.
same people in there, and so I want to be mindful of those guys, um, especially since it's folks like Salty and folks like TCMF games
Mm-hmm.
and people like that who really made me want to do a YouTube channel in the first place. And so I want to make sure that I'm staying on the up and up with those guys. But so let's get into the last question. I answered mine last week. I'll answer it again today. My favorite franchise is Final Fantasy. My favorite Final Fantasy is Final Fantasy X. Unless you ask me tomorrow, then I'll say it's Final Fantasy VII. Those kind of are interchangeable for me. I love both of them. I think the stories and I think the groundbreaking uh, was more impactful on Final Fantasy VII. I think the
Mm-hmm.
story and voice work and everything that was added made Final Fantasy X so much better to me. But literally on any given day, I can flip flop between the two. So with that, Toolman, you've been a wonderful person tonight. It's been a joy talking to you. We've bounced off of each other real well. What is
Mm-hmm.
your favorite franchise, and what is your favorite game in that franchise?
Well, I told you earlier, I mean, it'd be hard for me not to say that it was Destiny. I mean, there's only two games in the franchise, but definitely Destiny 1. Um, that's just because I played that game on the PlayStation for so long. I played it since the alpha. I got the alpha code on Destiny 1, and none of my other friends did, so I got to play the alpha, I got to play the beta. And I remember playing Call of Duty. We were playing Ghost, and one of our friends was talking about this new studio, or not new studio, but the studio that made Halo. I didn't really care about Halo or anything, and I was like, who? They said Bungie, and yeah, they're making a new first-person shooter called Destiny. I said, Destiny? What is that about? Well, more or less shooting aliens and all this stuff. I was like, yeah, all right, yeah, sounds good, whatever. So I ended up, uh, I can't remember if you had to sign up for it or whatever, but I remember getting the thing for it. I remember jumping into it, and I don't know, just that first reaction to something brand new, something, you know, just something brand new, exciting. It blew me away, and I know a lot of people have their different opinions on Destiny. You know, the things they did wrong, things they did good. You know, they eventually took them 8, 10 years to get it to where it should have been or what it needed to be. But I don't know. I like D1. There was a lot of good times playing in that. But I do have another one, which is I played a lot. Uh, Basically, I played a lot of fighting games and racing games. Is what I basically would play for years. What I like playing. But there on the PS1 was the Tekken 3. My God, I love that Tekken 3 game. That Tekken 3 was. Mm, I could sit there and play Tekken 3 for hours and hours and hours and love that game. And
Um,
then when
Sorry,
Mortal Kombat came out,
Tekken
oh,
3
mm-hmm,
was so freaking good. There is not Tekken 4 wasn't as good. Tekken
mm-hmm.
Tag wasn't as good. Tekken 5, the animations looked weird. Like Tekken 3 was perfect. It
Tekken 3 was.
Oh my gosh, that game was so fun. Who Wrong and then Tiger were my two favorites. And you only know who Tiger is if you really know Tekken
Mm-hmm,
3 because he was
yeah.
kind of a secret character that you had to get.
Mm-hmm,
He was kind of an alternate skin of Eddie. And
mm-hmm.
oh man, that was such a great fighter. Go ahead. Sorry. Continue.
But yeah, Tekken 3, that was just. And as far as Mortal Kombat, that came out. I graduated in '93, but Mortal Kombat come out in '91, I think it was. I think it was 90, 91, 92, somewhere in there. But I remember we used to cruise the strip and stuff and all that here, you know, when you were a teenager in high school and hanging out. And there was this convenience store right there that a lot of us would pull in. You know, it was pretty much the store where everybody would pull in and hang out. And they'd little crap together and go in and buy them a drink or whatever, something to snack on or whatever. But there was there was the Mortal Kombat game right there, the arcade. And there was a guy, pretty much, every town probably had it, but there was a guy there. He had his stack of quarters. You come in, there was people all gathered around to play. Sometimes he was there first, and sometimes he would come in later. And he'd come in, when you seen him, you're like, ah, crap. Well, I guess this side ain't going to be used by anybody else but him. Because he could beat everybody on it. But I remember playing that Mortal Kombat, the original Mortal Kombat on the arcade. That was just, there was a lot of Friday and Saturday nights playing on that thing. Just watch, whether you were playing yourself or you were just watching. And he liked to play Raiden a lot. Was I think his favorite one. But yeah, he was good at it. But so there's a lot of memories there with the Tekken 3.
Do you remember the game Killer Instinct?
Mortal Kombat. I never did play Killer Instinct.
I think it was a Sega release only for a little bit. Like, I think they had some sort of thing with the game. I don't ever remember, but I used to love playing the Cinder because he kind of handled a bit like, oh crud, he handled kind of like Raiden. Like, he could do one of those, like, spinning flying attacks. Dude, it was so... Yeah! Okay, Nelson just confirmed. It was on the NES, and it had a black cartridge. Yes. That's probably why I thought it was Sega. But, oh my goodness, dude, it was such a fun game. But, so, I mean, for me, if we're gonna go backwards, I would say that, excuse me, I would say favorite PS3 title was Last of Us. 100%. I think that was, well, favorite first party was Last of Us. Favorite PS3 game was, Sleeping Dogs. I freaking love Sleeping Dogs. Hold right L1 R1 BYAXB.
I'll tell you what, when Call of Duty was good, I loved on PS3. I loved Black Ops 1. I love that game.
I didn't get into Call of Duty until Black Ops 2. And I played Black Ops 2 a little bit. Then I played Black Ops 3 and Ghost. And I prefer Ghost. I know, I'm evil and I'm a terrible human being. But I prefer Ghost over Black Ops 3.
I like Ghost really well. Probably the one I played the most, with all my friends played, was MW3. We could play that game so much, MW3. I didn't like MW3 at first because Black Ops came out before MW3. And yeah, I like Black Ops 1. And then slowly I got into playing MW3 more and ended up, started liking it. And then that's where everybody was at, so that's where I started playing, was MW3 all the time.
Nelson said you're all liars. No one likes Ghost. I liked it. I especially like the last level where it like turns into like a zombie like nightmare, and I'm like, oh, that's really cool. Yeah, I really did like it. So kiss my rear end, okay? It was really fun. But anyways, guys, that is the show. That is the night. I hope y'all enjoyed it. We had quite a few stopping by at one point. It's been a good night. We had a few likes on the video during the live, so I appreciate that. Might come back next week, might not. Depends on what the gaming news cycle looks like. Toolman, I appreciate you stopping by. It was a great time, dude. You're always a great supporter of our channels, and you have great takes in the chat. So wanted to kind of get you on and see what your thoughts live would be. So, man, you did great. I appreciate it. And everyone, this has been Thoughts with Thrifty. And I might change the name to Thrifty and Friends if I can keep getting another person coming on. But yeah, I appreciate it, dude.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I had a good time. Thank you.
All right. Man, this has been great. Y'all have a good night, and I